How'd go, students? In this video, we're going to do the BGCSE Mathematics Paper 1 exam for 2019. Now, before we begin the exam, the very first thing is to fill out this section. We have the school number, the candidate number, and your surname and initials. This is very important. So I'm just going to write, I passed by in this section. Okay, let's look at this exam. It starts at 1 o'clock p.m. and it ends at 2:30 p.m., which means you have 1.5 hours to complete this exam. So you have 1 hour and 30 minutes. This is very important to keep in mind when taking the BGCSE Mathematics exam. Now, unlike the BJC, for the BGCSE, we can have a calculator. This is very important. You must go inside the examination with a calculator. You can have a Texas Instrument, you can have a Casio, it's up to you. But just go in the exam with a calculator and know exactly how to use your calculator. So when we first turn over the page, we're going to see a page that looks like this. It's going to have different information and formulas. They have the angled sum of a triangle, they have the angled sum of a quadrilateral, they have the area of a rectangle, they have an area of a triangle, they have the volume of a cuboid. In addition, they have the circumference of a circle, and they also have the area of a circle. So these are just some formulas that they have at the front of the page. If you need to come back to cross-reference, you can always do that. Now before we begin, take a deep breath. Now relax. Let's begin the exam. So it says write down the next two numbers in the sequence. We have 0, we have 1, we have 4, and we have 9. So they want us to find what are the other two numbers in this sequence. Well, if you can remember from your types of numbers, you can see all of these numbers so far are going to be square numbers. Now we should remember that a square number is going to be a number that is multiplied by itself. We're just going to write it as a number squared. We know 0 squared is going to give us 0. Then we have 1 squared. And 1 squared is going to give us 1. Then we can say 2 squared. 2 squared is going to give us 4. After 2 comes 3. So we have 3 squared. And that's going to give us 9. So for the other two numbers, we're going to do 4 squared and then 5 squared. Therefore, we can say 4 squared. When we put this in our calculator, it's going to give us 16. And then we can say 5 squared. When we put this in our calculator, we're going to get 25. So the next two numbers in sequence is going to be 16 and 25. Now, if you're not sure how to put this in your calculator, just grab your calculator. And when you press 4 to get the squared, it's going to be a certain key you're going to press, and the key is going to look similar to this. So once you press 4 and this key, it's going to do 4 squared for you, and you can press equals, and that's going to give you 16. And you can do the same thing for 5 squared, but there's also another key you can use. You can say 5. And now the second key you can use to find the square is you can press this key right here. It looks like this. So you can say 5, you can press that key and you can say 2. And that's going to give you 5 squared. And when you do this, you're going to get the answer 25. So there are two ways to plug this in your calculator. It's up to you which way you decide to do it. Okay. Now let's look at this. Question 2 says, complete the diagram so that it is symmetrical about the line L. So anytime we see this word symmetrical, we know it means symmetry. And they give us a line, which is line L. Therefore, line L is going to be used as our mirror line, which is going to make our work a whole lot easier. So we're just going to look for all the points that we have so far. We can mark this point, we can mark this point, this point, this point, this point, this point, this one, and this one. And now all we're going to do, we're going to move the points to the mirror line and then reflect it on the opposite side. All right, so if we start with this point, we can say this is 1, 2, 3 places away from the mirror line. So we're just going to go 3 places on the opposite side. We're going to say 1, 2, 3. Okay, now we have this point. We can say this is 1, 2, 3, 4 places away from the mirror line. Therefore, we're going to go 4 places in the opposite direction. We can say 1, 2, 3, 4. Therefore, we can plot this point right here. Now we have this point. We have 1, 2. Therefore, this is 2 places away from the mirror line. So we're going to go 1, 2. Now for this one, it's only going to be 1 place away from the mirror line. So we can just go 1 place in the opposite direction. Now we can see this is right on the mirror line, so this won't change. Now we have this one. This is 1 place away from the mirror line, so we're going to go 1 place on the opposite side. Now we have 1, 2 places on the mirror line. Therefore, we're going to go 2 places on the opposite side. So we're going to say 1, 2. We're going to plot our point right here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 places away from the mirror line. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. This is our point right here. Now for our last point, we have 1, 2, 3 places away from the mirror line. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3. Therefore, our last point is going to be plot right here. Now using our ruler, we're just going to draw this line. We're just going to line it up. We're just going to start at the first point and come all the way down with the last point. Now we can move our ruler and we can connect these 2 points right here. And now we can just move the ruler. Now let's connect these 2 points. Now once you have done this, you have finally completed the diagram, so it is symmetrical about the line L. What is seen on one side is also seen on the opposite side. Okay, let's go to question 3. Question 3 says simplify, and they give us 12 plus 3, open bracket, 9 minus 5 divided by 6. We know anytime we have a situation like this, where we have more than one operations happening at once, we have to perform order of operations. The acronym we use to remember the order of operations is going to be PEMDAS. So we're just going to write PEMDAS. Now we know in PEMDAS, parentheses is going to come first, then exponents, then we have multiplication and division. They're on the same level, so whichever one comes first, that's what we're going to do first. And then we have addition and subtraction. And these are also on the same level. And whichever one comes first, that's what we're going to do first. Parentheses comes first. So we can just write this out as 12 plus 3. And we know anytime we have a number and a brackets or a parentheses with no sign in between it, that it means multiplication. So we can say 3 multiplied. Now we're going to solve for what's in the parentheses. 9 minus 5 is going to give us 4. So we're going to put 4 divided by 6. Now after the parentheses, we have exponents, but there aren't any exponents in this problem. So we're just going to skip the multiplication or division. So depending on which one comes first, that's what we're going to do first. Now we can see we have 12 plus 3 multiplied by 4 divided by 6. So because we have multiplication and division, because multiplication comes first, we're just going to multiply first. We can say 12 plus 3 times 4 is going to give us 12 divided by 6. Now we have addition and division. We know division is higher than addition, so we're just going to divide first. Therefore, we're going to be left with 12 plus 2, which is then going to give us 14. So 14 is going to be our answer for this problem. Now, just to double check, you can just put this in your calculator. You can say 12 plus 3, open brackets, 9 minus 5, close brackets, divided by 6. When you press equal, you should get 14. So that is a way to check your working to make sure that you got the right answer. Okay, question 4 says, the shuttle bus leaves the hotel for the airport every 45 minutes. A bus left the hotel at 10:40 a.m. Part A, calculate the time when the next bus will leave. Let's read the question again. It says the shuttle bus leaves the hotel for the airport every 45 minutes. So every 45 minutes, a shuttle bus will leave the hotel for the airport. A bus left at 10:40 a.m. Calculate the time when the next bus will leave. Your thought process should be, if a bus left the hotel at 10:40 a.m., and we know a bus leaves the hotel every 45 minutes, we're just going to add 45 minutes to 10:40 a.m. Now, if you're good with time, you can just figure this out. But if you have trouble, let's do it with the math. Now, anytime you're adding time, I suggest you always convert the 12-hour clock to the 24-hour clock. 10:40 a.m. in the 24-hour clock is just going to be 10:40. We just wouldn't write a.m. Now we're going to add 45 minutes to this, so we can say plus 45 minutes. This is the hours, and this is the minutes. Now when we add this, 0 plus 5 is going to give us 5. 4 plus 4 is going to give us 8. We know 60 minutes equals 1 hour. Therefore, we're going to have to subtract 60 minutes from 85 minutes, and we must add 1 to the hours. So we can write 1 in the hours section and subtract 60. 85 minus 60, when we put this in our calculator, it's going to give us 25. We have our colon. For the hours, we're going to bring it down. And 10 plus 1 is going to give us 11. In the 24-hour clock, we got this time. Now, when we convert it back to the 12-hour clock, we're going to get the same exact time, except in the 12-hour clock, it's going to have a.m. So our answer would be 11:25 a.m. For part A, we're just going to write 11:25 a.m. Now it says the 12:55 p.m. shuttle bus arrived at the airport at 1:22 p.m. Calculate the time taken for the journey. So if this was part A, let's do part B right here. Let's read the question one more time. The 12:55 p.m. shuttle bus arrived at the airport at 1:22 p.m. Calculate the time taken for the journey. Now to find this, we're just going to subtract. So we have 1:22 p.m. minus 12:55 p.m. Now I always like to change this to the 24-hour clock. So to change 1:22 p.m. to the 24-hour clock, we're just going to add 12 hours. We can say 12 plus 1 is going to give us 13. 22 minus, now to change 12:55 p.m. to the 24-hour clock, we're just going to drop the p.m. So we have 12:55. Now when we solve for this, we can say 22 minus 55. We know that can't go, so we must borrow from the hours. 13 hours is now going to become 12 hours. And we're going to take over 60 minutes because 1 hour equals 60 minutes. So we have 60 we can say 60 plus 22. 60 plus 22, when we put this in our calculator, it's going to give us 82. Therefore, we have 82 minutes minus 55 minutes. When we solve for this, we're going to get 27 minutes. And now when we subtract the hours, we have 12 minus 12, which is going to give us 0. Therefore, the time taken for this journey is going to be 27 minutes. This is our answer. Now question 5 says, Pennywise store has a sale on shampoo at 4 bottles for $14.76. So Pennywise is selling 4 bottles of shampoo for $14.76. Now it says Smart Mart has a sale on the same shampoo at 2 bottles for $11.37, then get one free. So Smart Mart has a sale on the same shampoo for 2 bottles for $11.37, and then you get one free. Now the question says, determine which store gives the better buy. Show you're working to support your answer. Anytime you have a question like this, you want to solve for one. So for Pennywise store, I'm just going to write PWS for short. Pennywise store. They are selling you 4 bottles at $14.76 each. Therefore, we're just going to say $14.76 divided by 4. Just put this in your calculator. 14.76 divided by 4, and you should get $3.69. Therefore, we can say for every bottle of shampoo you buy from Pennywise store, you're going to pay $3.69 for one. Now, at the Smart Mart, they have a sale on the same shampoo at 2 bottles for $11.37. Then get one free. Now, you must understand what the question is saying. So you get 2 bottles for $11.37, but you get one free. We have to factor that in when we start to work this problem. We can say $11.37 divided by 3 bottles. We aren't going to do 2 bottles because you won't receive 2 bottles. You're actually going to receive 3 bottles. So we want to factor in how much 1 bottle is going to cost. When we put 11.37 divided by 3 in our calculators, we're going to get $3.79 for one. Now, when we look at this, we have $3.69 and we have $3.79. Which store is going to give you the better buy? Exactly, the Pennywise store is going to give you the better buy because you're going to get it for a cheaper price. You're going to get it for $3.69 instead of $3.79. So you would want to go with the Pennywise store. So all we're going to do is write Pennywise store. And we know the Pennywise store is going to be $3.69 for one. Okay, now question 6 says, solve the following equations. Part A, it says 19Q equals 28 plus 12Q. So we have 19Q equals 28 plus 12Q. Well, to solve for this, we know we have like terms because we have 2 Q's. So we're just going to carry over 12Q on the opposite side. Because we're adding 12Q, when we carry it over, the equal sign is now going to be subtracting. Therefore, we're going to end up with 19Q minus 12Q because we have to carry it over. And once we carry it over, we're going to change the sign equals 28. Now, because we have like terms, we're just going to subtract the coefficients, or you can say just subtract the numbers. 19 minus 12 is going to give us 7. Q equals 28. Anytime we see a situation like this and it doesn't have any sign in between it, this means multiplication. And we should know the opposite of multiplication is going to be division. So we're just going to divide. We can say 7Q divided by 7 and 28 divided by 7. This will cancel out with this. And when we put 28 divided by 7 in our calculators, Q is going to equal 4. This is our answer. Therefore, we're just going to write Q equals 4. Now, what about this one? We have 2t over 3 equals 14. Now, to solve for t, we know we're dividing, so we're just going to multiply to get rid of the 3. We can say 2t equals 14 multiplied by 3. When we put this in our calculators, we're going to get 2t equals 14 times 3 is going to give us 42. And we have to get t by itself. In order to get t by itself, because the sign between 2 and t is multiplication, in order to get t by itself, we're going to have to divide. We can say 2t divided by 2, 42 divided by 2. Because what we do on one side, we must do to the next side. The 2 2's are going to cancel out. And when we put in our calculator 42 divided by 2, we're going to get 21. Therefore, t equals 21. This is our answer. And always remember to put the answer in the spaces they provided. So we're going to write t equals 21. Okay, now let's do question 7. A triathlon includes swimming, long distance running, and cycling. The distance for swimming is X miles. The long distance run is 11 times longer than the distance for swimming. The distance for cycling is 85.8 miles longer than the distance for swimming. It says write an expression in terms of X for A, the distance run. Let's go back and read what they give us. They say the distance for swimming is X miles. Swimming is X miles. Now it says the long distance run is 11 times longer than the distance for swimming. So we know the long distance run is going to be 11 times longer than the distance for swimming. So we can write swimming as X, and we know to find the distance run, which is part A, we know it is 11 times longer than the distance for swimming. So we're just going to say 11 multiplied by X, or you can say 11 times X, which is going to give us 11X. So in our answer, we're just going to write 11X. Now for part B, it says the distance cycled. The distance for cycling is 85.8 miles longer than the distance for swimming. So if we look at this, we can see we have 85.8 miles longer than the distance for swimming. And we know swimming can be represented by X miles. Therefore, we can write this as X plus 85.8. If you write 85.8 plus X, the answer is still correct. Now part C says the total distance of the triathlon, giving your answer in the simplest form. So they want the total distance, which means they want us to add. So for swimming, we have X miles. We're just going to write X. Plus, for the distance run, we had 11 times longer than the distance for swimming, which gave us 11X. We have X plus 11X. And now finally, for the distance cycle, we can see cycling is 85.8 miles longer then the distance for swimming, which gave us x plus 85.8. So we have x plus 85.8. Now, even though there isn't any number or coefficient in front of these variables, we know it is always going to have the coefficient of 1. So we can just add a 1. Now we're going to add like terms. We can see we have an x, and we have another x. Therefore, we're just going to add the coefficients. In our calculators, we're just going to put 1 plus 11 plus 1, and that's going to give us 13x plus 85.8. And because these are unlike terms, and there is nothing else we can do with this problem, therefore the total distance for the triathlon is going to be 13x plus 85.8. This is going to be our answer. Okay, now let's do question 8. We can see they give us a graph, and the question says, write down the coordinates of the point A. We can see point A is going to be right here. So for point A, the x value for A is going to be -4. We can just write -4, comma, and the y value now is going to be +5. So we can just write 5. Even though they didn't label this point right here, we know this is going to be 5 because it's going to go 4, 5, 6. So the coordinates of point A is then going to be -4, +5. And just remember, you don't have to write the positive sign in front of the number. Okay. Now part B says, plot and label the point C, which has the coordinates 1, -4. 1 is going to be for the x-axis, and -4 is going to be for the y-axis. So we have +1. +1 is going to be right here. So this is our x value. And our y value is going to be -4. So we can come down. We know this is -1, -2, -3, -4. Therefore, point C is going to fall right here. We can just label this point C. And now part C says, draw the line segment BC. Now when they say this, they want us to draw a line from point B to point C. So we're just going to use our ruler, and we're just going to line up the 2 points. So we have point B and we have point C. Using our ruler and pencil, we're just going to draw this line. Okay, now part D says, plot and label the point D so that ABCD forms a rectangle. It says plot and label the point D so that ABCD forms a rectangle. This question wants us to plot and label a point that's going to be called D to form a rectangle. So because we started with the line AB and we went from B to C, we're just going to see how many places we move to get from B to C, and then we're going to do the same thing for A. So if we look at this, we can start at B. C is right here at +1. So we went over 1, 2. We went over -2 places because we went to the left. So you can say -2, or you can write 2 to the left. And then we went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 places down. So we can say -7 because we went 7 places down. Or you can say 7 downwards. Now once we have this, all we're going to do is start at A and move -2 places in the X, and then move -7 places in the Y. So we're going to start at A. We know A is going to be right here. So we're going to go 1, 2, and now we're going to go -7 places downwards. So we're going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this point right here is going to be known as point D. We can just label this point D. Now using our ruler, we're just going to draw this rectangle. We're going to draw from A to D and from D to C. Once again, just grab your ruler. I'm going to line up the 2 points. We're just going to line up point A with point D. And once the 2 points line up, we're just going to draw the line. Okay, now we know a rectangle has 4 different sides. So now we're going to have to connect D to C. So we're just going to move our ruler, bring it down, and we're going to line up point D and point C. And now we're just going to draw our line. Okay, now our question is complete. Now let's do number 9. We have 6 different decimal numbers, and the question says, from the above list of numbers, select and write down A, the largest number. Now because they gave us these lists of numbers, the very first thing I recommend is we write it in order from least to greatest. If we look at this list, they all have the same whole number, which is 22. Therefore, we're going to have to look at the decimal part to start to arrange these in order. So the first digit after the decimal point is going to be in the 10th unit. We have a 3, we have a 9, we have a 0, we have a 4, we have a 9, and we have a 5. Because the smallest digit in the 10th unit is 0, then this is going to be the smallest number. So we have 22.0999. Now the next number after this is going to be 22.399 because 3 is smaller than 9, then 4, then this 9, and 5. So we have 22.399. Now after this, we're going to have 22.499. So we have 22.499. After 22.499, then we're going to have 22.599. So we have 22.599. Now after this, we have 2 more numbers remaining. We have 22.99 and we have 22.909. And because they have the same digit in the 10th unit, which is 9, we're just going to look at the next digit, which is then going to be in the 100th unit. We can see we have a 9 in the 100th unit for this number, and we have a 0 in the 100th unit for this number. Therefore, this number is going to be smaller because 0 is going to be smaller than 9. Therefore, we can write this as 22.909, and our largest number is going to be 22.99. Now part A says, what is the largest number? Well, we know the largest number is going to be 22.99. Now they want us to find the smallest number. We can say the smallest number is going to be the first number, which is 22.0999. And now part C says the numbers that are larger than 22.5. Now what I would suggest is to change this to a decimal. The whole number is going to be 22. We're just going to add a decimal point. And to change 1/2, we're just going to say 1 divided by 2 in our calculators. And we're going to get 0.5. So we're just going to write the decimal part, which is 0.5. Now they want us to find the numbers that are larger than 22.5, which is 22.5. If we look at this, we know 22.09 is not larger than this. 22.399 is not larger than this. 22.499 is not larger than this. But on the other hand, 22.59 is larger because they have the same digit in the 10th unit, but then in the 100th unit, it has a 9. And we know in the 100th unit for this one, it will be a 0. Therefore, this number is larger. This number is also larger because there's a 9 in the 10th unit and there's a 5 in the 10th unit, and this number will also be larger. Therefore, in our answer, we can just write 22.599. Then we can write 22.909. And then finally, we can write 22.99. Okay, now question 10 says, use the ruler given to calculate the length in centimeters of the ink cartridge. All we're going to do is find where the ink cartridge starts on the line and where the ink cartridge ends on the line. So we can see it starts at 1 point, we know this would be 1.5, 1.6, 1.7, 1.8. So it starts at 1.8 centimeters. So we have 5 centimeters right here. And now we have 5.1, 5.2, 5.3, 5.4. We know this is going to be 5.5. Therefore, we can say the ink cartridge stops at 5.6. So we're just going to write 5.6 centimeters. Now to find the total length of the ink cartridge, you're just going to subtract. So you're going to say 5.6 centimeters minus 1.8 centimeters. Just put this in your calculator. You're going to say 5.6 minus 1.8 equals, and that's going to give you 3.8 centimeters. Therefore, in the answer space provided, we're just going to write 3.8 centimeters. Okay, now part 2 says convert your measurement in A from centimeters to millimeters. Okay, now anytime they want you to convert meters, I just want you to remember this. So we can have meters, we can have centimeters, and we can have millimeters. We also can have kilometers. To convert centimeters to millimeters, we're just going to multiply by 10. And to convert millimeters to centimeters, we're just going to divide by 10. Now to convert meters to centimeters, we're going to multiply, but we're going to multiply by 100. And to convert centimeters to meters, we're going to divide, but we're going to divide by 100. And now for kilometers, to convert kilometers to meters, we're going to multiply by 1,000. And to convert meters to kilometers, we're going to divide by 1,000. So when the question says, convert your measurement in part A from centimeters to millimeters, we know to go from centimeters to millimeters, we're going to have to multiply by 10. So we have 3.8 centimeters, and we're just going to multiply by 10. When we put this in our calculator, we can say 3.8 multiplied by 10, that's going to give us 38. Therefore, 3.8 centimeters is going to give us 38 millimeters. Now the last part of this question says centimeters to meters. So we know to go from centimeters to meters, we're going to have to divide by 100. So if we have 3.8 centimeters, we're going to say 3.8 divided by 100. When we put this in our calculator, we're going to get 0.038 meters. Therefore, this will be our answer. Don't forget to write it in the space provided. So we're going to write 0.038 meters. Okay, let's do question number 11. Question number 11 says, Evan did a survey in his class on the TV programs Splashdown S and Jammin' J. 15 students watched both programs. 22 watched Splashdown. 6 watched Jammin' only. There are 32 students in the class. Part A. Enter the above data in the Venn diagram below. Okay, so they give us this Venn diagram and they give us all the information in the question. Now it is very important to read this question once again and try to understand what it's saying. All of the information is going to be found in this question. If you can understand this question, you are able to solve the problems. So it says, Evan did a survey in his class on the TV programs, Splashdown and Jammin'. So these are the two sets, set S and set J, as we can see. 15 students watch both programs. So if 15 watch both programs, we know 15 is going to be in the intersection, which is going to be right here. So we can write S intersect J equals 15. And we know the intersection is going to be right here. So we can just write 15. Now it says 22 watch Splashdown. So we have 22 students that watch Splashdown. We can write S for Splashdown equals 22. Now in the Venn diagram, we can write 22. Now it says 6 watch Jammin' only. Let's read it one more time. It says 6 watch Jammin' only. This word right here is very important. Only. J for Jammin', but I'm going to write J only equals 6. So I'm just going to write 6. And then it says there are 32 students in the class. Now if we add 22 plus 15 plus 6, we're going to get 43. But there is no way we can have 43 people if there are only 32 students in the class. The problem is they told us there are 22 students that watch Splashdown. But those 22 students are going to be students that watch Splashdown only and students that watch both Splashdown and Jammin'. So what we're going to have to do to find Splashdown only is we're going to have to say 22 minus 15. Now when we solve for this, we can put this in our calculator and we're going to get 7. So there are 7 students that watch Splashdown only. We can write S only equals 7. Now this is very important to understand. If it says Jammin' only, we know there are only 6 people that just watch Jammin'. Because this says 21 watch Splashdown, this is referring to those that only watch Splashdown and to those that also watch Splashdown and Jammin'. So we had to subtract 15 from the total and we got 7 for Splashdown only. Now let's add this to see what we get. We have 7 plus 15 plus 6. When we put this in our calculator, we're going to get 28 students. Therefore, if there are 28 students that watch Splashdown and Jammin', and there are 32 students in the class, it means some students just don't like Splashdown and Jammin'. Therefore, we're going to have to subtract to see how many students do not watch Splashdown and Jammin'. So all we're going to do is say 32 minus 28. When we put this in our calculators, we're going to get 4. We can write 4 anywhere outside of the 2 circles. I'm just going to write it right here. So we can say S union J complement is going to equal 4. Okay, now that our Venn diagram is complete, now part B says, using the information in your Venn diagram, write down the number of students who watch part A only Splashdown. So we know Splashdown only or only Splashdown is going to be 7. And we have it right here, S only equals 7. Therefore, we're just going to write 7 in the space provided. Now part 2 says, neither Splashdown nor Jammin'. Well, we know there are 4 students who are not in the 2 circles. Therefore, they didn't watch Splashdown nor Jammin'. So we can just write 4. This is our answer. And one more thing, we could have written the universal set, which is all the elements in this set. We know it's going to be 32. because there are 32 students in this class. Okay, let's do question 12. It says Alex has a collection of 180 baseball cards. In this collection, there are 72 cards of the Cougar team, 35% of the Lennox team, and 1/4 of the Panther team. It says calculate part A, the fraction in lowest terms of his collection that are Cougar cards. So they want us to find the fraction of Cougar cards that he has in his collection. All we're going to do, we're just going to write the number of Cougar cards he has over the total number of cards. So it says Alex has a collection of 180 baseball cards. So we're going to write 180 in our denominator. And it says in his collection, there are 72 cards of the Cougar team. So we know Alex has 72 cards of the Cougar team. We're going to write 72 as the numerator. Now we're just going to write this in our calculator. We're going to say 72. And on your calculator, to get the fraction line, you're just going to press a key that looks like this. It's going to have A, B, C. You're going to press that key, and after you press that key, then you're going to put 180 in your calculator and just press equal. When you solve for this, you are going to get the fraction 2/5. This is our answer. Now, if you don't see the ABC key, you might see a key that looks like this. This is also the fraction key. If you do see this key on your calculator, just press this key. You can write 72 in the numerator and then write 180 in the denominator and then press equal, and you should get it in its lowest terms, which is going to be 2/5. Now part B says the number of the Lennox cards. All right, so let's read the question again. It says Alex has a collection of 180 baseball cards. In this collection, there are 72 cards of the Cougar team, 35% of the Lennox team. They want us to find the number of Lennox cards, and they tell us he has 35% of the Lennox team. All we're going to do is we're going to say 35 over 100 multiplied by the total number of cards, which is 180. When we solve for this, we know we can say 35 ABC 100 multiplied by 180 equals, and that's going to give us 63. Therefore, he has 63 cards for the Lennox team. Now we know to write this as a fraction. We just did 35 ABC 100, and we said multiplied by 180, and that gave us 63. Now part C says the number of the Panther cards. So the number of the Panther cards, he has 1/4 of the Panther team. So to find this answer, we're just going to say 1/4 multiplied by the total number of cards, which is 180. When we solve for this, we can put in our calculators 1 ABC4 multiplied by 180, and that's going to give us 45. Therefore, he has 45 Panther cards. Okay, now let's do number 13. Part A says, using a protractor, measure and write down the size of angle ABD. We know the point that's in the middle is going to be where we're going to measure from. This is the angle they want to find. So they want to find point B. We're just going to pull out our protractor. So now that we have our protractor and we see where point B is, we're just going to line up the center point of the protractor with point B. Okay, now that it is lined up, we can see it is between 60 and 70. So we can say this is 61, 62, 63, 64, 65. Therefore, the size of angle ABD is going to be 65 degrees. Now, if you're wondering why it's not 115 degrees, it is because the angle is open to the left. Because the angle is open to the left, we have to measure it using this side of the protractor. Now, if the angle was open to the right, then we would have used this side of the protractor. Therefore, angle B is going to be 65 degrees. Now, part B says, leaving in all construction lines, use a pencil, ruler, and a pair of compasses only to, part A, bisect the line segment BC, and part 2 is to bisect ABD. So let's grab our compass, pencil, and ruler. Now the first part says, bisect the line segment BC. If we look up, we can see the line segment BC is going to start right here, and it's going to end right here. So we're just going to grab our compass and put it directly on point B. Then we're going to open up our compass to a little more than half of the line. We can say about right here. And we're just going to draw an arc at the top and at the bottom. Now we're going to move the compass point to point C. Leaving the same radius, we're just going to turn the compass around and draw an arc at point C going from the top to the bottom. Now we're going to move our compass and we're just going to grab our ruler. We can see these 2 points intersect right here and right here. Using our ruler, we're just going to line up the points. Then we're going to grab our pencil and just draw a line straight down. So let's just use our pencil and just draw a line. Therefore, this is how we bisect the line segment BC. Now the second part says, bisect ABD. So let's find ABD. ABD is right here, and they want us to bisect this angle right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab our compass. We're going to put it on point B, and we're just going to open it to a certain length, and we're just going to draw an arc that crosses line AB and line BD. So we're just going to draw an arc. Now, keeping the same radius, we're going to move the compass point to where the arc intersects the line BD. Now draw another arc. Now we're going to move the compass point, keeping the same radius once again, and put it where the arc intersects line AB. And we're going to draw another arc. Now we can move our compass and we can see where the 2 arcs intersect. And we're just going to use our ruler and draw a line from point B to where the 2 arcs intersect. Now we're just going to draw a line from point B to where the 2 arcs intersect. Therefore, we have successfully bisected ABD. Okay, let's go on to the next question. So number 14 now says, Flightcraft Incorporated builds commercial aircrafts. Their aircraft model FC1 has a seating arrangement with 6 rows of 4 seats across in first class and 28 rows of 6 seats across in economy class. Part A. Calculate the total number of passengers that the plane can carry. Now we have to read the question and understand exactly what it is saying in order to solve this problem. It says Flightcraft Incorporated builds commercial aircrafts. Their aircraft model FC1 has a seating arrangement with 6 rows of 4 seats across in first class and 28 rows of 6 seats across in the economy class. To calculate the total number of passengers that the plane can carry, we must first calculate how many seats are in first class. We can say 6 multiplied by 4, we're going to put that in brackets, plus for the economy class, we know we have 28 rows because it says we have 28 rows of 6 seats. So we're going to say 28 times 6. Now we're just going to put this in our calc. Now if we solve this, we can say 24 plus 28 times 6 is going to give us 168. When we add this, we're going to get 192. Therefore, the total number of passengers that the plane can carry is going to be 192. Now it says the aircraft model FC1 has the specifications given in the table below. So we must be able to read the data inside of a table and understand it. So the model, which is the FC1, now they have non-stop flight distance is going to be 5,210 miles. Then they have a cruising speed of 567 miles per hour. And the gallons of fuel used per hour is going to be 2,031 gallons. Now it says cost. To fly 1 hour, for the crew, it's going to be 1,530. And for fuel, which is gas, it's going to be 1,716. Part B says, calculate, the first part of B, how many gallons of fuel are needed for a 4-hour flight. So they want us to find how many gallons of fuel we're going to need for a 4-hour flight. If they want us to calculate how many gallons of fuel is needed for a 4-hour flight, let's look back up at the table to see if they give us how many gallons of fuel is used for a 1-hour flight. If we look back up at the table, we can see non-stop flight distance, we see cruising speed, and we see gallons of fuel used per hour. This is what we're looking for. The number of gallons of fuel used per hour is going to be 2,031 gallons. Because they give us how many gallons are used per hour, in order to find how many gallons are used for 4 hours, we're just going to multiply the amount per hour. We're just going to multiply the amount of gallons per hour by 4. Therefore, we can say 2,031 multiplied by 4, because we have a 4-hour flight. When we put this in our calculator, we're going to get 8,124 gallons. So this will be our answer. We're just going to write it in the space provided. Okay, now part 2 says the total cost for the crew and fuel for a 3-hour flight. Now let's see if we can find how much it costs for the crew for 1 hour and for the fuel for 1 hour, and then just multiply it by 3. So if we look back up at our table, it says cost to fly 1 hour. For the crew, it's 1,530. So we can just write crew. We have 1,530 multiplied by 3, because it's going to be a 3-hour flight. When we put this in our calculator, we're going to get 4,590. Now for the fuel for a 3-hour flight, we know the fuel for a 1-hour flight is going to cost 1,716. So we can write fuel equals 1,716 multiplied by 3 hours is going to give us 5,148. Now all we're going to do is add crew plus fuel for 3 hours. So we have 4,590. We're going to put that in our calculator. Plus, we have 5,148. When we put all of this in our calculator, we're going to get $9,738. So this will be our answer for the total cost of the crew and fuel for a 3-hour flight. $9,738. This is our answer. Okay, now let's do number 15. Part A says, write down the special name of each triangle. So they give us 3 different triangles, and we can see they give us a variable to represent the angles. Now, when we look at this, we have angle P, we have angle Q, and we have angle Q. Therefore, we can see we have 2 of the same variables, and because we have 2 of the same variables, we can say we have 2 angles that are equal. Therefore, this is going to be known as an isosceles triangle. And we know this is an isosceles triangle because in an isosceles triangle, 2 angles are equal. So I'm just going to write isosceles. Now for our second triangle, we have angle X, we have angle Y, and we have angle Z. We have three different variables, which means we have three different angles. Because we have three different angles, we can say we have no equal angles. Therefore, this is going to be known as a scalene triangle. Now for our final triangle, we can see we have angle W 3 times. So because all of the angles are going to be equal, we can call this triangle an equilateral triangle because all the angles are equal. Okay, now let's look at part B. So in part B, we can see we have a triangle, but we also have two parallel lines. Now the question says calculate the size of, the first part is going to be angle A. So we see where angle A is, which is right here. And we know this right here is going to form a straight line, which adds up to 180 degrees. And because it forms 180 degrees, to find angle A, we're just going to say 180 degrees minus 126 degrees. And we put this in our calculator, we're going to get 54 degrees. Therefore, we can say angle A equals 54 degrees. And now they want us to calculate the size of angle B. So if we look at angle B, we can see it's right here. And you might be wondering, how do we solve for this? Okay, now to calculate for angle B, because we have these two parallel lines and the transversal, we know these two angles must add up to 180 degrees because they are known as consecutive interior angles. So when we solve for B, all we're going to say is 180 degrees minus 126 degrees. And we know that's going to give us 54 degrees. Therefore, angle B is also equal to 54 degrees. Okay, now for our last part, we have angle C. We can see where angle C is, and we know angle C is right here. And if we look at this, they want us to find C. In order to find C, we're just going to add up all the angles in a triangle because we know angle A is going to be 54 degrees. Then we have 58 degrees, and we know angles in a triangle must add up to 180 degrees. Therefore, all we're going to do is say 58 degrees plus 54 degrees. When we put this in our calculator, we're going to get 112 degrees. Now we're going to subtract this from 180 because angles in a triangle add up to 180 degrees. Now when we put this in our calculator, we're going to get 68 degrees. Therefore, we can say angle C equals 68 degrees. This is our answer. Also for angle B, you can say these are Z angles because we can start the Z from right here and we can go right here, boom, bam, boom. So that's going to be our Z angle. And we know these two angles, which is A and B, would have been equal. So once we found A, which was 54 degrees, then we know B is also 54 degrees. So this is another way you could have solved for this answer. Okay, now number 16 says, from the set of numbers, we have 2, 3 squared, -8, 0, the square root of 25, and 16. Write down A, the numbers greater than 7. Now the first thing we should do is we should solve for 3 squared and the square root of 25. So we can write this as 2, 3 squared. When we put this in our calculator, it's going to give us 9. You have -8. We have 0. The square root of 25, when we put this in our calculator, is going to give us 5. And we have 16. Okay, now for the numbers that are greater than 7, is 2 greater than 7? No. Is 3 squared greater than 7? Yes, because we know 3 squared equals 9. So we can just write 3 squared. Is -8 greater than 7? No. Is 0 greater than 7? No. Is the square root of 25 greater than 7? No. Is 16 greater than 7? Yes, so we can write 16. Now for part B, it says the prime numbers. Prime numbers are going to be numbers that only have two factors, 1 and itself. So let's start with 2. Is 2 a prime number? Yes, so we can write 2. Is 3 squared a prime number? No, it's not. Is negative 8 a prime number? No. Is 0 a prime number? No. Is the square root of 25 a prime number? Yes, it is, because the square root of 25 equals 5. Therefore, we can write the square root of 25 in our answer. Now, what about 16? Is 16 a prime number? No. All right, now part C says the numbers less than 1. So to find this, we're just going to look back at our set of numbers, and we know anytime a number is less than 1, it's either going to be 0 or negative numbers. So if we look at this list, we can see we have a negative number, which is negative 8. So we can write negative 8, and we have 0. Therefore, these two numbers are going to be the numbers that are less than 1 in this set of numbers. Now let's do number 17. It says, Smartly Dressed produces made-to-order school uniforms. The chart below shows the amount of fabric required for various sizes of shirts. So they give us a table, and we must be able to understand this table. So we have shirts. On the left-hand side, we have the size, and on the right-hand side, we have the amount of fabric it takes to make those sizes. Now, for a small, it takes 1 2/3. For a medium, it takes 2 1/2. And for a large, it takes 2 5/6 amount of fabric in yards to make these sizes. So part A says, calculate. The first part of A is the amount of fabric needed to make 9 large shirts. So what we want to do is find out how much fabric it costs to make 1 large shirt. So if we look at our table, for a large shirt, it takes 2 5/6 yards of fabric to make this shirt. Because we know how much yards of fabric it takes to make 1 large shirt, we're just going to multiply that by 9. Therefore, we're going to say 2 5/6 multiplied by 9, because we need to make 9 large shirts. Now, when we put this in our calculator, we're just going to say 2 ABC5 ABC6 multiplied by 9. And when you put this in your calculator, you're going to get 25 1/2. Therefore, it takes 25 1/2 yards of fabric to make 9 large shirts. Now for part 2, it says the number of small shirts that can be produced from 18 1/3 yards of fabric. We should look at the table to see how many yards of fabric it takes us to produce 1 small shirt. We can see it takes 1 2/3 yards of fabric to produce 1 small shirt. So all we're going to do is now divide this. We can say 18 1/3 divided by 1 2/3. Now when we put this in our calculator, we're going to say 18 ABC1 ABC3 divided by 1 ABC2 ABC3 equal. We should get 11. Therefore, the number of small shirts that can be produced from 18 1/3 yards of fabric is going to be 11. This is our answer. Now it says, Mistress Jones ordered 1 small and 2 medium shirts. Calculate the amount of fabric required. So if she ordered 1 small shirt, we know it required 1 2/3. So we can write 1 2/3 plus, if she ordered 2 medium shirts, the amount of fabric needed for a medium shirt is 2 1/2. So we can say 2 1/2 plus 2 1/2 because she ordered 2 medium shirts. When we put all of this in our calculator, we're going to get 1 ABC2 ABC3 plus 2 ABC1 ABC2 plus 2 ABC1 ABC2. This is going to give us 6 2/3 yards. Now, there is another way you could have done this. You could have said 1, 2 over 3, plus you can write 2, and you're just going to multiply the number of fabric it's going to take to create one medium shirt, which is 2, 1 over 2. So we can say 2 multiplied by 2, 1 over 2. When you put this in your calculator, you're still going to get the same answer, which is 6 and 2/3 yards of fabric. Okay, let's do this question. We have question 18. It says simplify. Now part A says 8 minus 3, open bracket, 5 minus 2y. We're just going to write this question right here. We can say 8 minus 3, open bracket, 5 minus 2y. Now we're just going to expand these brackets. So we're going to say negative 3 multiplied by 5 and negative 3 multiplied by negative 2y. So we're going to write 8. We can say negative 3 times 5 in our calculator, and that should give us negative 15. So we're going to write minus 15. And when we do negative 3 multiplied by negative 2y, therefore we're just going to say negative 3 times negative 2. When we solve for this, we get a positive 6, so we can write plus 6y. Okay, now we're just going to simplify this. We can say 8 minus 15 is going to give us negative 7 plus 6y. Or you can write it as 6y minus 7. Any way you write it, you're going to get the correct answer. We can say 6y minus 7, or you can write it as negative 7 plus 6y. They're both correct. For part B, we have 3p multiplied by 2p to the power of 3 multiplied by 5. Okay, now we can see we have the same variable. So we're just going to multiply. We can say 3 multiplied by 2. Then we're going to write back the variable, which is p. And we know the exponent for the first term is going to be to the power of 1, because we know anytime a variable does not show an exponent, it always has the exponent of 1. So we're going to say p 1 plus 3. And this is all going to be multiplied by 5. So we have 6p, 1 plus 3 is going to give us 4, multiplied by 5. Now we're just going to multiply the numbers. We can say 6 times 5, and we're going to write back p to the power of 4. When we put this in our calculator, 6 times 5 is going to give us 30, and we're just going to write p to the power of 4. Therefore, our answer when we simplify this is going to be 30p to the power of 4. Okay, now what about this one? So we have 24q to the power of 7 divided by 3q to the power of 3. In this problem, we're going to be dividing in algebra, and we can see we have the same variable. So we're just going to divide the coefficients and subtract the powers of the variable. We can say 24 divided by 3, and we have q to the power of 7 minus 3. Now, when you put 24 divided by 3 in your calculator, you're going to get 8. And when we do 7 minus 3, we're going to get 4. Therefore, our answer is going to be 8q to the power of 4. This is our answer. Okay, we're on question number 19 now. Mr. Jones tiles his foyer with 3 different size tiles. Square tiles A and B and rectangular tiles C. This gives a basic pattern as shown below. Okay, let's read the question one more time. It says Mr. Jones tiles his foyer with 3 different size tiles. So we have 3 different sizes, right? Now it says square tiles A and B. So we know for tiles A and B, they're going to be square. And rectangular tiles for C. The problem says calculate the area of tile A. Anytime we see this word area, we should just start to smile because all we have to do is just use a formula. Now the next step is to figure out which formula are you going to use. Well, if we look back up at our question, it says square tiles A and B. Therefore, we know we're going to use the area of a square formula. Now, if you can't remember the area of a square, just turn to the front of the page and that's where all the formulas are. Now, we should remember the area of a square is going to be base multiplied by height. Now, the base in this situation is going to be 6 inches. So we can say 6 multiplied. Now, the height is also going to be 6 inches because we know all sides of a square is going to be equal. So if this side is 6 inches, this side is also 6 inches. So we can say 6 multiplied by 6. When we put this in our calculator, we're going to get 36. And we know the unit is going to be inches squared. Therefore, this is going to be our answer. Therefore, we can write 36 inches squared. Okay, now part B says the area of tile B. So let's find tile B. We can see tile B is going to be this tile right here. And there isn't any length that was given. So we know the area of this tile is going to be found by using the area of a square formula because we can see square tiles A and B. So we can say area equals base multiplied by height. And we know all sides of a square are going to be equal. So we just have to find the length of one side of the square. Now, because they didn't give us any length for tile B, it's best that we try to fill out this pattern. That way we can be able to solve for the area of tile B. Now, we already found the area of tile A, and we know it is going to be 36 inches, but they gave us one side of tile A, which was 6 inches. And because they gave us the length of one side of A, which is 6 inches, and because it is a square, we know all sides are equal. Therefore, if this side is 6 inches, we know this side is also 6 inches. We know this side right here is 6 inches. We can look at this and see from this point to this point is going to be 6 inches because that's tile A. And from this point to this point is also going to be 6 inches because that's tile C. We can see A starts at the same place as B and tile C ends at the same place as B. Therefore, we're just going to say 6 plus 6, which is going to give us 12. Therefore, we can say from this point to this point, for tile B is going to be 12 inches. And we know B is going to be a square tile. We know all sides are going to be equal. Therefore, we can say the area of tile B is going to be 12 multiplied by 12. When we put this in our calculator, we're going to get 144 inches squared. So this would be our answer. So we can write 144 inches squared. Now it says the area of tile C. Now we know tile C is a rectangular tile. If it has 12 inches for the long side, we know the short side is going to be 6 inches. So to find the area of tile C, we're going to use the area formula for a rectangle, which is base times height. We can say area equals base times height. We can say the base is going to be 12 multiplied by the height, which is going to be 6. When we put this in our calculator, we're going to get 72 inches squared. This would be our answer. Okay, now part D says the area of the entire pattern. Now, if we look at this, we can see this is a rectangular shape. Let's just find the length from here to here. And we know if this side is 6 inches, then the length of this side is going to be 12 inches. We're just going to write 12. Now we can add this up. We can say the base is going to be 6 inches plus 12 inches plus 6 inches. The base equals 6 inches plus 12 inches plus 6 inches. Now when we put all of this in our calculator, we're going to get 24 inches. Now for the height, we're just going to add 6 inches plus 12 inches. So we can say height equals 6 inches plus 12 inches, which is going to give us 18 inches. Now to find for the area, we're going to say area equals base multiplied by height. We know the base is going to be 24 inches. We can write 24 multiplied by the height, which is 18. Now when we solve for this, we're going to get 432. And we must always put back the units, which is going to be inches squared. Therefore, our answer is 432 inches squared. Okay, let's do number 20. It says Jeff wants to buy a drone for his photography project. The cash price is going to be $1,294.00. VAT is added at the rate of 7.5%. Part A. Calculate, the first part of A, the VAT amount. So they want us to find the amount of VAT that Jeff is going to have to pay on this drone. Now to calculate VAT, we're going to have to use the rate, which is going to be 7.5%. Therefore, we can say VAT equals the rate over 100 multiplied by the cash price. We know the rate is going to be 7.5%. Therefore, we can write 7.5 over 100 multiplied by $1,294.00. Now, all you're going to do is put this in your calculator. Now, in our calculators, we're going to do 7.5 divided by 100. When you solve for that, you're going to get 0.075 multiplied by $1,294.00. Now, when you multiply this, just using your calculator, you're going to get the answer $97.05. Therefore, in the space provided, we're just going to write $97.05. This is our answer for this problem. Okay, now part 2 says the total cost of the drone. So we know to find the total cost, we're just going to add the cash price plus the VAT. So we can say TC for total cost. We can say cash price plus VAT. We know the cash price is going to be $1,294.00 plus the VAT, which is going to be $97.05. Now we're just going to type this in our calculator. We're going to say $1,294.00 plus $97.05 equals. That should give us $1,391.05. So this is our answer. I'm just going to write $1,391.05. Okay, now it says Jeff decides to buy the drone on a hire purchase plan at a total cost of $1,593, with monthly payments spread over a half a year. Part B. Calculate, the first part of B, the amount of each monthly payment. Now we know anytime we see this word hire purchase, he's going to end up paying more using a hire purchase plan than if he just paid with the cash price. Now to find the amount of each monthly payment, we're going to say total cost divided by the number of months. Now when we read our question again, Jeff decides to buy the drone on a hire purchase plan at a total cost of $1,593.00. So the total cost is going to be $1,593.00 divided by the number of months. And it says with monthly payments spread over a half a year. So they don't give us the number of months. They tell us it's spread over a half a year. Now you might know a half a year equals 6 months, but if you don't know, you know there are 12 months in a year. So we're just going to say 1/2 multiplied by 12 months. And when we put this in our calculator, we can say 1 ABC2 times 12 is going to give us 6. So we have 6 months. Therefore, the number of months is going to be 6. Now, using our calculator, we're just going to say $1,593.00 for the cents divided by 6. And when we divide this, we get 265.5. But because we know we just found the amount of each monthly payment is going to be $265. And because we know dollars have cents and cents has 2 digits, it's not just going to be a 5. We're going to have to add a 0. And now 5 actually means 50. So our answer is going to be $265.50. This is our answer for this problem. We're just going to write it in the spaces provided. Now the second part of B says the amount which can be saved if he had paid cash. So now to solve this, we're going to say hire purchase. I'm going to write HP for hire purchase minus cash price. Now for the hire purchase plan, he's going to pay $1,593. So we can write $1,593.00. And now for the cash price, if he paid cash, we're just going to scroll up to the first part of the question, and we can see the cash price is $1,294. But this isn't the total cost of the drone. But the total cost of the drone with VAT included is going to be $1,391.05. So be very careful when solving a problem like this to make sure that you're subtracting the total cost. Therefore, we're going to have $1,391.05. Now, when we put this in our calculator, we're going to get $201.95. So if he paid cash, he would have saved $201.95. This is the last question on the BGCSE Paper 1 exam for 2019. Okay, we have successfully completed the BGCSE Mathematics Paper 1 exam for 2019. Remember, when you're taking the exam, if you get stuck on a question, skip it and go to a question that you know how to do. Time is very important. You only have 1 hour and 30 minutes to complete this exam. So you want to get as much questions right as possible. If you have any questions, please leave them down below and we'll be sure to answer them for you. Link up, students.